At 24, I had $0 in my account, a maxed-out credit card, and the mother who stopped asking how I was doing because she already knew. Everyone around me was moving forward, getting promotions, buying cars, getting engaged. And I was stuck. Not because I was lazy, not because I didn't try, but because I kept doing what I was told was safe, and it was slowly killing me. This is the story of how I went from broke at 24 to completely retired at 29, and why nobody, not my friends, not my family, not even I, believed it was possible. Stay with me, because the part that changed everything isn't what you think. But before I tell you what worked, I need to tell you what I almost did instead. Because if I had made that one decision, the one my best friend begged me to make, I wouldn't be here today. I'll come back to that. First, you need to understand where I actually was. I was working a job I hated. Not a bad job, just the wrong one. You know the feeling. You show up, you do the work, you go home. But there's this weight on your chest every Sunday night that never goes away. I called it just being tired. My therapist called it something else. I remember one specific Tuesday morning. I was sitting in my car in the parking lot outside the office. Engine off. Just sitting there. Not because I was early, because I couldn't make myself go inside. I sat in that car for 22 minutes, watching other people walk past the window, watching them just go in, like it was easy. And I thought, what is wrong with me? Nothing was wrong with me. I just wasn't in the right place. But it took me a long time to understand the difference. The money wasn't terrible, but it was barely enough. Rent, food, debt, repeat. Every month felt like running on a treadmill that was set just slightly faster than I could keep up with. I had a side project I was building at night, something I genuinely believed in. And for 18 months, it made exactly $0. Zero. I would come home after a full day of work, eat something fast, open my laptop, and work on it until midnight, sometimes later. My girlfriend at the time would fall asleep on the couch waiting for me to finish. She said, "You need to give this up. You're chasing something that doesn't exist." My dad said, "Just focus on your career. Build stability first." My friends stopped asking about it after month 6. Not out of cruelty, they just assumed it wasn't going anywhere. And every single month, my bank account proved them right. By 24 and a half, I was in debt. Real debt. Not, I spent too much on coffee debt. I had $6,200 of it, and I was one missed paycheck away from not making rent. I remember lying awake at 2 a.m., doing the same math over and over in my head, as if running the numbers one more time would somehow change them. It never did. I started avoiding social media, not because I was being disciplined, but because watching other people succeed felt like a physical pain in my chest. I stopped talking about the project. I stopped talking about the future. I just went quiet. This is the part of the story nobody puts in the Instagram caption. This is what it actually looks like before it works. Rock bottom has terrible PR. Everyone treats it like a tragedy. But for a specific type of person, and you might be one of them, rock bottom is actually the first honest moment you've had in years. Because when you have nothing left to protect, you stop lying to yourself. You stop performing. You stop pretending. You stop managing everyone else's expectations of you. And in that silence, if you're brave enough to sit in it, you finally hear what you actually want. And that's where it started for me. I made a decision at 24 years and 8 months old. Not a dramatic one, not a viral one, not one that looked good in a story. I decided to stop optimizing for other people's approval and start optimizing for my own survival. I quit the job. Not dramatically. I didn't flip the table. I didn't write a letter. I just stopped going back. And for the first 90 days, everything got worse. I want to be honest with you about that, because most people skip this part. The first 90 days were the hardest of my life. Week 1, I felt free, genuinely free. Like I'd taken off a backpack I'd been wearing so long I forgot it was there. Week 2, the fear started creeping in. Week 3, I had a full panic attack on a Wednesday afternoon. Over nothing, over everything. By week 6, the relationship was over. She needed someone present. I was somewhere else entirely, mentally, emotionally, financially. I moved into a smaller place, a place where the heating made a sound every night that I still can't describe. I ate the same 3 meals on rotation because they were cheap and I knew how to make them without thinking. But something else happened in those 90 days. I learned, for the first time in my adult life, what I was actually capable of when I had no safety net. Not what I thought I was capable of, what I actually was. There's a version of yourself that only shows up when comfort is no longer an option. I met that version of myself at day 47. I remember the exact day because I wrote it down. I was 3 hours into working on the project, fully locked in, no distractions, no noise, and I looked up and realized I hadn't thought about anything else for 3 hours. Not the debt, not the breakup, not what my dad would say, just the work. And I thought, this is it. This is the thing. Month 1, first $200 from the project. Month 3, $800. Month 6, $2,400. Still not enough, still in debt. But the direction had changed. And direction, not speed, is the only thing that matters at the start. And then, at month 7, I made the worst mistake of the entire journey. One decision that nearly wiped out everything I had built. I almost quit. Not the project, something worse. I'll tell you exactly what it was and why it's probably the same thing holding you back right now. But first, you need to understand the system that saved me. Here's what nobody explains about building financial freedom from nothing. It's not about working harder. Everyone tells you to work harder. Work harder doesn't work when you're working in the wrong direction. It's about 3 things, and most people only ever do 1. Pillar 1, focus. Not focus like a motivational poster. I mean surgical, obsessive, embarrassing focus. I deleted social media for 14 months. Not a break, gone. I told people I was working. I missed weddings. I missed birthdays. I missed things I genuinely wish I hadn't missed. Not because I'm a robot, but because I understood something critical. Every hour you spend managing other people's perception of you is an hour you didn't spend building. Here's what focus actually looks like in practice. I had 1 browser tab open at a time. I worked in 90-minute blocks with a physical timer on my desk, not my phone. I kept a single notebook where I wrote 1 goal at the top of every page before I started working. 1 goal, not 5, not a list, 1. And I asked myself the same question every morning before I opened the laptop. What is the one thing I could do today that would make everything else easier or unnecessary? That question alone saved me months of wasted effort. Pick one thing. Build it for 18 months. Don't pivot. Pillar 2, proof. The moment I stopped trying to convince people and started just showing them results, everything changed. Nobody believed in what I was building. Fine, I didn't need belief. I needed receipts. So I documented everything, every small win, every number, every milestone, no matter how small. First dollar, screenshot. First $100, screenshot. First person who said it helped them, written down. Not for Instagram, for me. Because on the days when nothing was working, and there were many of those days, I could open that document and see the proof that it had worked before. And if it worked before, it could work again. Here's what most people get wrong about proof. They think it's for other people. It's not. It's for the version of you that will want to quit at month 7. Until the numbers did the convincing for me. Pillar 3, momentum. This is the one nobody talks about. Momentum isn't motivation. Motivation is a feeling. Feelings are unreliable. Motivation shows up when things are going well. It disappears the moment things get hard. Momentum is a system. I worked the same 3 hours every morning, 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., regardless of how I felt. Not because I'm disciplined, because I made it non-negotiable before my brain woke up enough to argue. I didn't decide every morning whether to work. That decision was already made the night before. Clothes out, coffee ready, laptop open, notebook on the desk. By the time I was fully conscious, I was already 10 minutes in. You can't negotiate with a system that's already running. Now I want to tell you something that nobody told me, and I wish someone had. The hardest part of building something from nothing isn't the work. It's the silence. It's the months where nothing visible is happening, where you're putting in the hours and the results aren't showing up yet. Most people quit in the silence. They look around, see nothing, and assume nothing is coming. But here's what's actually happening in the silence. You're building compounding momentum that isn't visible yet. Think of it like pushing a boulder. The first 100 pushes, nothing moves. You're exhausted. You look crazy. Everyone watching thinks you're wasting your time. And then, on push 101, it moves. And once it starts moving, it doesn't stop. The silence isn't a sign that it's not working. The silence is where the work actually happens.
If you're in the silence right now, keep pushing. Now. The worst mistake. At month 7, I almost applied for a job. Not because I needed to, because I was scared. It was a great job, good salary, benefits, stability. My best friend sent it to me with the message, just do this, 1 year, save up, then go back to your thing. And I almost did it. I had the application 90% filled out. I had my old CV open in one tab, the job listing in another. And I sat there for a long time, longer than I want to admit, because it was tempting. Not because I wanted the job, but because I wanted the feeling of safety it represented. I wanted someone to tell me it was going to be okay. And then I looked at my numbers. Month 6, $2,400. Month 7, the month I was sitting there ready to quit, $3,800. I was on the curve. I just couldn't see it because I was too deep inside it. I closed the application. I closed the job listing. I opened my notebook and I wrote, "Don't quit on a Tuesday." I don't know why Tuesday specifically. It just felt like the right thing to write. If you're on the curve right now, don't quit. The moment you want to stop most is almost always the moment right before it breaks. I cleared my debt at 27. I had my first $10,000 month at 28. And at 29, I made the last decision I'd ever make for money alone. I stopped. Not because I burned out, not because I failed, because I had built something that kept running without me having to show up every day just to survive. That's what retirement means to me. Not sitting on a beach. It means you have options, real ones. The option to say no to things that don't matter. The option to say yes to things that do. The option to wake up on a Monday morning and decide what the day looks like, not have someone else decide for you. And nobody who told me it wasn't possible said a word when it happened. Not one word. Here's the thing I want to leave you with. At 24, I wasn't special. I wasn't smarter than you. I wasn't luckier. I didn't have a head start or a safety net or a rich uncle. I had a laptop, a bad idea that slowly became a good one, and just enough stubbornness to stay in the room longer than everyone else. I was just willing to look stupid for long enough that the results didn't need defending. If you're watching this and you've got that weight on your chest, that Sunday night feeling that something's wrong with your life, that feeling isn't weakness. That's your direction. It's your mind trying to tell you something that your fear won't let you say out loud yet. Follow it. Even when the numbers don't make sense yet. Even when the people you love don't understand it. Even when you're sitting in a parking lot at 8 a.m., unable to make yourself go inside. Especially then. Because that moment, that exact moment of resistance, is where the real decision gets made. Not the big dramatic ones, the quiet ones, the ones nobody sees. The moment you choose to stay in the room one more day. That's the moment everything starts. Nobody believed me either. And 5 years later, I wouldn't change a single uncomfortable day of it. If this hit you, hit subscribe. I drop one story a week. No fluff, no fake motivation, just real stories about what it actually takes. See you in the next one.